Hello again, YouTube. Welcome back. Today what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a little bit another recipe that I really like to use with dandelion, and also another wild edible that is called goosefoot or lamb's quarters, if you will. You've probably heard it called lamb's quarters. Has several different names, but it's basically wild spinach, and it's a very good wild green to incorporate into your diet, especially if you're trying to supplement wild edibles into your current diet. And today we're going to make dandelion and lamb's quarter slaw. So stick around, we'll get right to it. Now, these are very large dandelion leaves. Most manuals and instructors and people who teach wild edibles will teach you, which is very proper, that these greens are best eaten, especially if you need to or have to eat them raw, best before the plant flowers. However, I have seen dandelions in grocery stores at this stage, but what you have to realize is that once they get this large, they may be a bit bitter, but that's absolutely fine, especially if you intend to cook them. You can always tell lamb's quarter because in the center of the rosette, the plant will be an ashy type gray. This is going to be a shaky camera video, not using a tripod today, so filming everything by hand. Anyway, here we have the ingredients for my version of this recipe. We have here our freshly harvested dandelion greens and lamb's quarter. Now, I'm not going to use the stems, even at this stage. Lamb's quarter stems are very tough and very woody and hard to eat, so we will just be using the leaves of the lamb's quarter. But we can go ahead and use the entire stem on the dandelion. I have one carrot peeled and ready to shred up here, and a green onion. We are growing bunching onions in the garden. I have a lemon. I like coarse ground black pepper, so we have that. A little bit of half and half. You can use cream if you want to. Now, most people use mayonnaise, salad dressing, something like that, Miracle Whip, Hellmann's, whatever. I am using sour cream, lemon juice, a little bit of sugar, and there we have the ingredients for dandelion slaw. Stick with me. Okay, it's kind of an odd angle, so hopefully you guys can see all right. Now, normally I take my dandelion greens and I soak them to rehydrate them, but it's been raining, so these are in fairly good shape, so no soaking today. Lamb's quarter, as I said, we're only going to use the leaves. So one of the first things I'm going to do is I'm going to get some of these leaves picked and get my greens all washed, and then I'll be right back with you. Okay, my greens are now washed. I've got a small cutting board here, and I'm just going to start chopping and processing. I like to slice my greens very thin, but you can make them as small or as large as you want to. Now, this recipe, you can use a little sugar, especially if your dandelions are at this stage where the leaves are a little large. But dandelion can be eaten fresh, just right off the ground, if you know the leaves are clean. So try your greens. Give you a good idea, a good indicator of the level of bitterness you may or may not have to contend with at this growth stage, so you know whether or not to modify your recipe accordingly. So I'm going to get my greens chopped here, like so. I'm only making a single serving, so I'm not going to chop up a whole lot of this. My greens right into my bowl. Carrot. Now, peeled and washed already, but if you don't have a peeler, just use the spine of your knife. Just like so. Peels carrots, just lovely. Okay. Get a little bit of carrot in there for color. Green onion. Use some of the base of the onion down by where the root was. And I also like to throw some of the greens in from the top. Just like you would chive. About to knock my bowl off. You don't have to use green onion. You can use white, yellow, whatever you want to. But I like the flavor of a green onion. Lamb's quarter. Each individual plant. Just going to pick the leaf. I'm going to incorporate some of that into my slaw. Like I said, lamb's quarter is basically a wild, uncultivated spinach. And it likes to follow mankind just like a lot of other wild edibles. Any place that's been really active, any place that the ground's been disturbed, place that's been farmed, abandoned properties, orchards, agricultural farms, you name it. Anywhere mankind has been, lamb's quarter likes to thrive because the soil has been broken up over time and it's easy for the roots to take hold, and the plant usually does very, very, very well. Alright, I'm just going to use the one plant for now. Set these aside. There's some carrot there. Just a little bit of greens, make it a personal serving. Okay. I'm going to add a little bit of lemon, just right over the top. The juice of about half a lemon. Just like so. Now, for my dressing, I am using sour cream, not mayonnaise. So I'm going to take my sour cream, coarse ground black pepper. There's another name for it, like table pepper, or hell, I can't remember, but coarse ground. It's a crime not to use coarse ground pepper in slaw. I'm just going to drop a little bit of that on top of my sour cream. Jalapeno from the garden, ground jalapeno. This is the same exact stuff that I used in the dandelion fritter recipe to put inside the batter. Gives a lot of good flavor. So we're going to throw some of that in as well. I like jalapeno, so we'll throw in quite a bit of that. Just a little bit of half and half, but if you want this to be a completely vegan recipe, you can substitute soy milk, coconut milk, almond milk, whatever you want to, and leave out the sour cream. You're just going to have a runny dressing, but just a little bit. Get that mixed up really good there. And this is how we toss together our dressing for our slaw. I do not use salt. In our house, usually we use pink Himalayan sea salt, but I never put salt in slaw because between the pepper, the black pepper, the jalapeno pepper, the lemon juice, and all those things, it has a really good flavor anyway, so I don't usually ever use salt. I salt almost nothing when I cook or when I eat. over the top of my raw greens. Now, if your dandelion is bitter, you always have the option of adding just a little bit of granulated sugar. I will sometimes, and sometimes I won't. I'm diabetic, so a lot of the time I will opt out of sugar, but in this case, I'm just going to add just a tiny bit. I bet not even half a teaspoon to this serving. Whip my greens up. Now I can let this rest, and the longer it rests, the better it's going to be, because the flavors are going to have a chance to mingle and meld, and it'll be very, very good flavor because everything kind of gets to mix together a little better. However, in the interest, I can't even talk, of saving time, we're not going to do that today. I'm just going to plate. Plate this right up. And here we go. Dandelion and Lambsquarters slaw. Geez, I want a bite, but not a huge bite. Okay. Yeah, those greens aren't bitter. Oh wow, the jalapeno. The jalapeno and the onion, that's a good combo. If you want to, you can even garnish it up a little bit with a few dandelion flowers. Whatever. But, as you can see, it's another extremely simple recipe. And a really good way to incorporate wild edibles into your current diet. So you're kind of supplementing. It's a good way for you to learn to eat wild edibles, learn what you like, how you like it, and learn to be able to enjoy it. So if the time ever comes that you have to live on something like this, it's not, you know, like I said before, there's a lot of videos on YouTube that tell you, hey, you can eat this, and you can eat this, and you can eat this. Well, everybody tells you can eat a lot of things, but there are very few outdoorsmen or instructors or the like that are teaching you how. Okay, it's one thing to say you can eat something, it's another to teach somebody how entirely. So that's kind of the goal in this series of videos, where I'm showing you a little bit of cooking with wild edibles. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Don't forget, if you haven't and you'd like to, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Reach over there and hit the notification bell if you want to get notified when I upload future videos. Questions, comments, drop those down below. I thank you guys very, very much for your views and your support. I'll get another video out to you as soon as I can. Y'all have a good one.